have Antonio Maradiaga here between us. So anything you need, you know, you can touch us. So nothing else. Repeat for being here. Thanks a lot for contributing to SAP community, locally here in Barcelona especially, but all around the world. And hope you will enjoy all the sessions that the speakers volunteer to share with you. Thank you so much.
Hola, ¿se oye? Bueno, me ha tocado a mí empezar. Sabéis que en este tipo de conferencias la primera charla suele ser de alguien con altura, que cuente cosas interesantes y que se lleva una pasta. Aquí han dicho, vamos a empezar por lo de la altura y lo otro ya veremos para otro año. Entonces, bueno, pues probablemente sea el ponente de más altura, pero física, simplemente. Las cosas interesantes las van a contar los demás. Yo os voy a invitar a que participéis, otros os dirán, deja el móvil y atiende a lo que te voy a contar. Yo al revés, os voy a decir, coger el móvil y os voy a invitar a participar desde el principio. Escaneamos el código QR y os va a tocar trabajar a vosotros. Yo estoy aquí simplemente para hacer de introducción. Los que vienen después son los que van a contar cosas interesantes. A medida que os vayáis conectando, le dais a me gusta o no me gusta para que yo vea que estáis dentro y empezamos. Bueno, mi nombre es Antonio, pero esto lo van a decir el 50% de los que salgan a hablar aquí, porque me parece que hay como 4 Antonios. Soy Antonio de Ancos y nada, os voy a contar. Realmente vamos a hacer una pequeña encuesta de ciertos términos que creo que nos deberían sonar a todos en SAP en el año 2024. Bueno, el código, aunque si no habéis escaneado el código QR, lo vais a tener visible en todas las diapositivas, menti.com, y el código será el que aparece ahí. Con el código QR es más cómodo. Y vamos a ver. Bueno, primero quiero hacerme un poco a la idea, aunque algunos lo podría adivinar, del tipo de público que tenemos, porque los chistes, dependiendo de la edad que tengáis, pues hay que adaptarlos. Porque hay gente que, claro, les hablo de el equipo al 1, 2, 3 y me dice este tío de qué está hablando, tendría que hablar de cosas más actuales. Entonces hay que adaptarlo sobre la marcha. Todo va de que vosotros contestéis. Yo voy a estar hablando, pero en función de lo que me vais respondiendo, os voy contando una cosa u otra. ¿No funciona? ¿Sí? ¿Seguro? A ver. Pues el presenter ya está. Vamos a ver. Si no avanza, vamos. A ver, voy a probar yo, a ver si es que no sabemos. Si no, va a tocar que hable yo solo, entonces va a ser más pesado, ¿eh? Vamos a arrancarlo otra vez, a ver si se entera. Cierto, ha perdido la conexión. Vamos a ver. La wifi, aquí regular, me voy a conectar con el móvil. Estamos bien. Vale, ahora se supone que ya está conectado. Y vamos a ver. Ahora. Ahora en principio hay conexión, deberíais poder. Sí, ya empieza a aparecer por aquí. Ahora ya podéis responder. Os irán apareciendo las preguntas y vais respondiendo. En estas primeras es seleccionar la opción y le dais a enviar. Luego habrá otras en las que habrá que escribir algo. Esto es que corre sobre HANA y entonces va un poco regular. No, vuelve a ser la conexión. Vuelve a ser la conexión. Yo creo que está intentando coger todo el rato la wifi de aquí. Vamos a ver si le engaño. Venga, internet parece que hay. Lo voy a abrir otra vez. ¿Ahora? Ahora parece que sí. Ahora vamos a ver lo que dura, porque si no, aparte de que haya fallado la persona de Seidor, lo mismo tiene que irse otro a casa sin hablar, porque voy a estar aquí yo 3 horas. Menos de 30 está bien, muchos, hay unos cuantos. Bueno, seguimos. ¿Con qué perfil os identificáis? ¿Sois más funcionales, técnicos? Habrá gente que diga yo soy un poco de todo. A los comerciales que no os dé vergüenza, que no pasa nada, admitimos a todos. Bueno, más técnicos que funcionales. Y luego gente respetable que dice, a mí no me etiquetes, yo no quiero estar ahí. ¿Cuánto tiempo lleváis trabajando con esto de SAP? Más de 10 años, podría haber puesto más de 20 y hay alguno que sé por aquí que lleva más de 20, entre ellos el que habla. Hay algún novato también, menos de 2 años. No os preocupéis, esto me empiezas a entender los pasados 15 o 20 años. Al principio no entendemos nadie nada. O sea, y valorar vuestros conocimientos de SAP. De SAP así en general, no de SAP, FI, HR, tal, de SAP en general. Aquí está segmentado en base a lo que habéis respondido antes y aquí esto es anónimo, salvo que esta respuesta, los de aquella mesa, tengo claramente sus respuestas para ver realmente qué responden. Excelentes. 3 excelentes. Venga, que suban y den ellos todas las charlas de todas las que vamos a contar. 3 excelentes y que llevan más de 10 años. Me hubiera encantado que hubiera puesto a alguien excelente con menos de 2 años. Yo he dicho, bueno, mis alabanzas. Y ahora vamos a empezar realmente, ahora os va a tocar trabajar a vosotros. Imagino que si vivimos en este país y en este mundo y en este siglo, alguna vez habéis visto el concurso pasapalabra. Pues esto es lo que vamos a hacer. Vamos a hacer un rosco en el que van a ir apareciendo cada una de las letras del abecedario. La ñ no está, ahí hubiera hecho alguna coña con algo de España, para la contiene la ñ, pero salvo la ñ van a estar todas. Entonces vamos a ir un poco rapiditos porque son 26 letras con 26 definiciones y bueno, a ver qué es lo que sabéis realmente de SAP, sobre todo esos tres que han puesto que eran expertos. Empezamos. Empieza por A. Siempre va a empezar por la letra que os digo, alguna vez que pone contiene tal letra o casi todas son empieza por. Y hay algunas que tienen dos palabras. Yo indico si tiene una palabra, si empieza por la letra o simplemente la contiene. Esta, pues empezamos por la A. Y bueno, el abecedario creo que sabéis cómo va, pues el orden os podéis imaginar cómo va a ser. Esta se la dedico especialmente a César, porque sé que le va a gustar, a César Martín, que está por ahí. Cuanto más rápido respondáis, más puntos obtenéis. El premio, luego os dirán David cuál es el premio para el que gane. El lenguaje que a SAP le gustaría que utilizáramos son dos palabras, independientemente de que estemos on-premise, suponiendo que nos pudiéramos quedar on-premise y en cloud pública o privada. Dos palabras, empieza por A. Hay que ir rapidito, cuanto más rápido, más puntos os va a dar. La primera palabra imagino que la sabremos y la segunda, pues, no sé, César la sabe. La respuesta es ABAP Cloud, ¿vale? El ABAP ha cambiado, SAP lo que quiere es que independientemente de que te vayas a nube pública o privada o te quedes on-premise, pues todos los desarrollos que hagas, los hagas siguiendo esta nueva sintaxis que tenemos ahí. No tengo ni idea, ya estoy aquí por el café, me parece muy bien, ABAP 4, ABAP Cloud es la respuesta. Siguiente pregunta. Bueno, la clasificación la voy a sacar cada 5 respuestas, esto es para un poco para que veáis, porque si no sería muy largo, pero pues al final las últimas 3 irán saliendo para ver cómo vais. De momento, GESPOS, poca gente ha acertado aquí. Empieza por B. Empieza por B. Aquí, bueno, se pueden utilizar siglas, plataformas de servicios de SAP. No es HCP, no es SCP, aunque en su momento lo fue, entre otras cosas porque eso no empieza por B. Pero si hubiera hecho esto en lugar de 2024, en 2020, a lo mejor hubiera sido empieza por S. Y si lo hubiera hecho en 2015, empezaría por H. Da tiempo de sobra, sobre todo para escribir 3 letras. Luego habrá algo que haya que escribir un poquito más. De hecho, hay gente que luego escribe eso, ¿no? Estoy tomando café y tal. BTP, Business Technology Platform, es una plataforma de servicios que al principio era HCP. Como lo de H era de HANA y sonaba caro, se lo quitamos del medio, se pasó a llamar SCP y hace 4 o 5 años BTP, pero al final es lo mismo, una plataforma de servicios. Si hay algún recruiter por aquí, por favor no pidas programadores en BTP, no pidas expertos en BTP, hay 87 servicios, entonces de todos seguramente no sepa, salvo estos 3 que han contestado que sabían todos SAP, el resto, bueno, pues conocerás alguno. Empieza por C. Empieza por C, sirve para modelar datos en S4 HANA. En S4 HANA, a veces cuando yo doy formación con SAP y digo, no, ya no existen las tablas. Pero ¿cómo que no existen las tablas? Existe esto. Y por debajo hay tablas. Digo, sí, por debajo hay ceros y unos. Digo, pero yo lo que te digo es que SAP ahora, para modelar las cosas, suele utilizar la respuesta a esta pregunta. También son 3 letras, no os debe costar mucho. Si queréis escribir la descripción un poco más, pero las siglas sería suficiente. Yo siempre digo que si estoy trabajando, voy a trabajar en S4, tengo que entender 4 cosas. Una de ellas es el tema de los CDS, cómo funcionan los CDS. Siguiente pregunta. Por la D. El BW en la nube. Una definición simple. Dice, es que eso es mucho más. O sea, estoy seguro que hay alguien por aquí que me dice, es que eso lo has reducido, tiene muchas cosas más por detrás. Pero bueno, como definición puede valer, empieza por D, no es Data Warehouse Cloud, o era, es que a veces SAP cambia las cosas de nombre, pero solo pocas veces. Pero ahora, por eso es importante cuando digo de la A a la Z en 2024. Alguien que le comentaba ayer que iba a hacer una presentación de este tipo dice, pues la habrás preparado a última hora porque puede que te cambien una sigla o un nombre de un producto. Digo, sí, la preparo ayer por la tarde. Pues que esto si no. Datasphere. Bueno, ahí hay alguno que lo ha puesto separado, pero realmente junto. Datasphere. Quinta pregunta, empieza por E. Después de esto saldrá la clasificación para ver cómo vamos. Software que integra y gestiona procesos empresariales. Por ahora no os quejéis que no tenéis que escribir mucho, son respuestas cortas. ¿Qué es SAP realmente? Bueno, SAP es muchas cosas, pero ¿cómo empezó SAP? ¿Qué es S4 y qué es R3? Realmente es un software. A mí cuando me preguntan mis amigos, que no tienen ni idea de qué va este mundo, y les cuento que llevo 20 y tantos años trabajando con esto, enseñando y aprendiendo, me dicen, pero esto no termina de aprenderse nunca ni de enseñarse nunca. Digo, pues va a ser que no. Dice, pero es como el Office. Digo, bueno, un poquito más avanzado. RP, tanto el R3 como el ECC, como la Business Suite o como lo quieras llamar, es un RP, y S4 no deja de ser un RP con un montón de cosas adicionales. Bueno, pues así vamos. GESPO se mantiene ahí en cabeza, parece. Y Sanse por ahí. Los demás os va saliendo cuando respondéis en qué posición estáis. Empieza por F. Empieza por F, otra de las cosas que nos suenan si estamos en S4 y a la que tenemos un poco de miedo. Patrón de diseño de aplicaciones. No es un lenguaje de programación, no es una tecnología. Al principio, cuando salió, 2012-2013, eran 25 aplicaciones. Ahora te metes en la biblioteca de aplicaciones y te dicen que hay 15.000, cosa que es mentira, porque luego filtras por tecnología y realmente que sean aplicaciones de este tipo hay 3.000, te desaparecen 12.000 de golpe. Entonces, al final es una forma de diseñar aplicaciones, es lo que llaman la nueva experiencia de usuario. No todo lo que hay en S4 está hecho así, pero sí conviene que vayamos cambiando. La respuesta es Theory. El otro día un amigo me comentó que había recibido, con esto de la inteligencia artificial y la traducción, buscaban expertos, consultores expertos en flores. Hay que darle una vuelta a los recruiters, a esas peticiones que hacen y esas traducciones automáticas. Empieza por G. Empieza por G y de esto os van a hablar algo, ¿vale? Hay una charla por ahí que nos van a hablar de algo de esto. Esto es algo también que nos explota la cabeza a la gente que solo desarrolla en ABAP y que no ha salido del mundo ABAP y que, joder, las órdenes de transporte, yo si estoy tocando un programa no lo puede tocar el otro, ¿cómo lo va a poder tocar? Eso es una aberración. Sin embargo, llega la gente que desarrolla en cloud, ven cómo trabajamos en ABAP y dicen, pero esta gente, ¿en qué siglo está? Entonces nosotros decimos, pero el sistema de transporte de SAP es súper robusto y tal, no sé qué. Pero es que SAP se ha ido al mundo cloud y en el mundo cloud se trabaja de otra forma. Entonces, Git es un sistema de control de versiones que podemos utilizar con ABAP, tenemos un programa que no es de SAP, que se llama de hecho ZBatGit, que tira por detrás de ABAP-Git, que es algo que mantiene la comunidad open source. Y luego os van a hablar de GCTS, porque el Git me va a servir no solo para transportar objetos de desarrollo, sino para transportar, si quiero, también configuración. Importante conocer cómo funciona eso. Empieza por H, base de datos en memoria. Aquí es donde vino el gran cambio, cuando SAP inventó esto, pues dijeron, pues tenemos que hacer las cosas de otra forma. Y les tocó reescribir todo el software para aprovechar la potencia de esa base de datos en memoria. ¿Es la única base de datos en memoria que hay en el mundo? No, hay otras, pero es la única por la que SAP va a cobrar licencias. Entonces, antes el RP lo podías correr sobre cualquier base de datos y ahora S4 solo sobre HANA, porque así la licencia de la base de datos se la pago a SAP y el software, el RP, se lo pago a SAP también. HANA es mucho más que una base de datos, es una plataforma, tiene una serie de características. Creo que Antonio Leite, es el que me sigue, va a hablar de algo que puede tener la base de datos HANA. Siguiente pregunta, empieza por I. Son dos palabras, servicio de BTP, uno de los 87 servicios de BTP, y en este caso que simplifica y acelera la integración empresarial. Es un servicio que tiene varias capacidades, el API Management, el Process Integration. La semana pasada estaba dando una formación y alguien de un cliente que lleva tiempo trabajando con esto, cuando le hablaba de BTP, me decía, ¿eso qué es? ¿El nuevo API? Digo, bueno, tienes que darle una vuelta, Pero hay gente que se queda con esas ideas, no, BTP, el nuevo API. El nuevo API es uno de los 87 servicios que tiene dentro de BTP que tiene a su vez 4 capacidades. Bueno, pues esto es Integration Suite. Antes conocido como CPI, antes conocido como HCI, pero al final es lo mismo. ¡Ey! Que me salto la J. La J, o sea, de esto os van a hablar en todas las presentaciones que veáis ahora de SAP. Os van a meter algo de esto porque esto va a ser la solución a todos vuestros males. Vamos a tener que dejar de trabajar y de pensar porque nos lo van a dar todo hecho. Asistente inteligente de SAP. Esta es complicada. Por aquí me está pasando Luis el premio que se va a llevar el ganador, que va a ser un libro de Expreso Tutorial. Joule es el que va a solucionar todos nuestros problemas, el que nos va a dejar sin trabajo, el asistente inteligente de SAP. Hay gente que cree que la inteligencia artificial es una revolución. Yo creo que sí, pero con ciertas reticencias, porque creo que tiene una gran lucha la IA contra la EH. Creo que la EH todavía, la estupidez humana, le lleva bastante ventaja a la inteligencia artificial. Pero bueno, vamos a ver quién gana. Pues así vamos. Nada, Gespo no cede el liderato. Siguiente pregunta, con K. Vamos a ver. Tipo de usuario está también. Que SAP cree que va a ser capaz de crear nuevos campos, nueva lógica de negocio, un nuevo CDS, objetos de negocio. Esto dentro de que en S4 HANA hay gente que, joder, es que no voy a poder hacer desarrollos, no se puede modificar el estándar. No se puede modificar, pero se puede extender. Entonces tú puedes cambiar la lógica, puedes añadir un nuevo campo. Y para eso hasta ahora siempre hemos dependido de desarrolladores. SAP piensa que hay una serie de usuarios que van a ser capaces de hacer todo esto. Crear un nuevo campito en una pantalla, meter lógica, crear un objeto de negocio nuevo. Pues hay una cosa que es la que User Extensibility, que bueno, yo creo que es una herramienta que está bien y que cuando he visto alguna demo y alguien ha intentado contar esto, nunca ha venido José Luis el de contabilidad o María la de compras. Siempre ha sido un técnico. Entonces, ¿se puede hacer sin tener conocimientos técnicos? Yo tengo ciertas dudas. Empieza por el E. Punto de acceso a las aplicaciones SAP, especialmente en Fiori, por donde quería SAP que entraran todos los usuarios. Tú tienes una URL y ya está. Con permiso de la WordZone, porque luego aparece la WordZone. No, lo que te decía antes, que tenías que entrar por aquí, ahora tienes que entrar por otro sitio. Cuando la realidad es que la mayoría de los clientes, usuarios nuestros, siguen entrando por SAPGI. Entran por SAPGI y siguen utilizando las transacciones de siempre. No, lo de Fiori es muy moderno, o cuando llegan a implantar, como sigo pudiendo entrar por SAPGI, a veces la consulta te dice, no, Fiori está bien, pero es que no funciona. Entonces, al final tú sigues entrando por las transacciones de toda la vida. Ya que me quiten el SAP Logón, pues ya veremos. Fiori Lampads sería una URL donde entra el usuario y en función de los permisos que tenga, pues tendrá acceso a sus tareas del día a día. Empieza por M. Empieza por M. Herramienta de SAP que facilita, son dos palabras, y automatiza la migración de datos. En todos estos procesos de migración que os estáis resistiendo a hacer, pero todos vais a hacer porque ya andan en 2027, porque vas a pagar el mantenimiento extendido, te vas a ir a 2030, porque confías en jubilarte antes de que llegue el momento, pero vais a pasar, todos los que queráis seguir con SAP, vais a pasar a S4, ya veremos en qué nube, o ya veremos si me quedo en la tierra. Pues SAP es verdad que ha sacado herramientas que me facilitan esa transformación, esa migración y hace que sea menos costosa. Migration Cockpit es una herramienta que me permite o me facilita esa migración de datos. Todos queréis utilizar la LSMW, bueno, pues hay cosas que en S4 no se pueden utilizar. NetWeaver On Demand. Esto era algo que al principio, cuando aparecía BTP, no BTP, sino el origen, HCP, pues yo trabajaba de una forma. Y a partir de ciertas fechas se dio cuenta que en el mundo de la nube la gente utilizaba otro tipo de arquitectura y hacía otra serie de cosas. Entonces surgió lo que se llamaba Cloud Foundry, pero antes de Cloud Foundry todo era todo era NetWeaver on Demand. NetWeaver on Demand, al final, el acrónimo que se utilizaba es NEO, ya que estamos a punto, NEO. Entonces, dentro de BTP yo tengo cuentas en entorno NEO, los early adopters empezaron a trabajar con NEO y todavía siguen manteniendo servicios ahí en NEO y que vas a tener que migrar eso sí o sí antes del 31 de diciembre del 2028, porque eso desaparece. Entonces, los primeros que adoptaron temas de lo que se llama ahora como BTP, pues les toca migrar sí o sí antes de 2018 todos esos servicios que pudieran tener. Otra cosa que creo que es fundamental, ¿vale? Entender de qué va esto. Protocolo para intercambiar datos entre el backend y el frontend. Empieza por O, una palabra, es corta también. Entonces, dentro de los conceptos básicos, entender bien lo que es Fiori, entender qué me puede dar BTP, entender lo que es un CDS, y para mí esto también es importante. Esto no es algo propietario de SAP, es algo que se utiliza en el mundo de desarrollo cloud en distintos fabricantes. Y al final, como digo, es la forma de traducir la información que tengo en el backend para que mis aplicaciones sean capaces de consumir esa información. La respuesta era OData, ODS, dice uno por ahí. Bueno, hay cambios en la clasificación, vamos a ver, pues parece que de momento seguimos más o menos igual. El que se ha puesto el primero se quiere llevar el libro, está claro. Será alguno de los tres que ha contestado que era experto. Se las sabe todas, parece. Empieza por P. Bueno, para poder acceder a esto, a la hora de configurar SAPiNsidetrackBarcelona tienes que estar certificado. Esto lo pongo, bueno, yo empecé a programar en ABAP y luego me metí en el mundo de recursos humanos y ahora hablo un poco de todo y de nada, como veis, porque estoy hablando de generalidades, pero realmente los que saben, como digo, vienen detrás de mí. Entonces, el tema de las certificaciones en SAP ha cambiado en el mes de abril de este año. Todas las certificaciones que tengáis caducan el 31 de marzo de 2005 y van a seguir el modelo que seguían las de SuccessFactors, que tú tienes que hacer una certificación y luego exámenes Delta. De hecho, en SuccessFactors, si no estás certificado, no puedes acceder al provisioning, que es donde se configura parte de SuccessFactors. Los que eran de HR sabían esta pregunta, los que no dirían, este tío, ¿qué me está contando? Empieza por Q. Está también, igual que os decía que ahora en todas las presentaciones vais a ver Joule, inteligencia artificial, porque ahora hay que hablar de eso, ¿vale? Entonces, todas las presentaciones, antes hablamos de la empresa inteligente, ahora de la inteligencia artificial, pues durante años no había presentación de SAP en las que no nos hablaran de los datos X y los datos O. No, nosotros tenemos los datos operativos, sabemos realmente qué pasa en tu empresa, pero el por qué pasa con esto que hemos comprado, vas a unir los dos mundos, el qué pasa y el por qué pasa, vamos a poder medir la experiencia y tal. Entonces, en todas las presentaciones, datos X, datos O, tal, había comprado una empresa en la que había invertido pues, una pasta, a los 2 o 3 años dijeron, bueno, a lo mejor esto no era tan importante, y entonces se deshicieron de esa empresa. Todavía hablan de vez en cuando por ahí de los datos X, pero ya no lo veis en todas las presentaciones. La empresa se llamaba Qualtrics. Os pasaré luego una serie de enlaces donde podréis ver pues, cómo compraron y después se deshicieron de esto, pero todavía yo os digo que sigue estando por ahí. De hecho, en HR todavía hay alguien que lo utiliza y en alguna de las encuestas de valoración que os mandan veréis que por detrás pone lo de Qualtrics. Pero ya no es tan importante, pero lo fue en su momento. Paquete comercial con el que... aquí se me ha olvidado quitar algo, pero bueno, está bien. Paquete comercial con el que SAP facilita tu transición a la nube. Esto también es otra de las cosas que todo el mundo habla de ello y dice, ¿pero esto qué es? Esto realmente es un paquete comercial donde te voy a intentar vender o facilitar, en principio, tu transición a la nube. No, pero déjame que yo quiero ir a la nube, pero quiero ir solito. No, yo te tengo que guiar, Entonces, esto es... Hay gente que te dice, voy a migrar a RISE, que vas a migrar ¿a dónde? Vas a migrar a S4, ¿vale? RISE al final es un paquete comercial. Recruiters, tampoco busquéis programadores en RISE, que alguna petición he recibido. Programadores en RISE. Bueno, venga, vamos a dejarlo ahí. Nueva versión del RP. Al final, todos los que estamos por aquí, pues la mayoría lleváis un tiempo trabajando con SAP y habéis sufrido, habéis vivido algún cambio de versión. Entonces, hay cambios de versión que han sido pues, más traumáticos y otros más llevaderos. A lo que nos enfrentamos ahora no es un cambio de versión, es un nuevo producto, ¿vale? Es un nuevo producto. Esto no es que es una migración como de la 4.7 a la 6.0 o de subir un EHP. El proyecto que tenemos por delante Realmente, SAP ha tenido que reescribir todo su código para realmente aprovechar toda la potencia que me ofrece HANA, para aprovechar la nueva forma de modelar datos, la nueva experiencia de usuario, etc. Entonces, S4 HANA es un nuevo producto, es el nuevo RP, no es la nueva versión de R3. Entonces, eso hay que tenerlo claro también a la hora de afrontar el proyecto. Luego ya veremos de qué color, si greenfield, si brownfield, si bluefield. El color para mí va a ser un marrón, independientemente de la opción que cojas. Código de acceso rápido a una aplicación que echas de menos cuando estás en Fiori. Cuando tú a un usuario le enseñas la pantalla de Fiori, dice, pero aquí donde meto, ¿cómo voy directamente a crear un pedido? Y yo, pues mira, navegas aquí, tienes un tile y tal. Dice, Antonio, no me marees. Yo doy formación a gente que lleva mucho tiempo trabajando con SAP y gente que empieza. Y muchas veces a la gente que empieza les enseño cómo crear un pedido de la forma tradicional y cómo crear un pedido con la aplicación Fiori correspondiente. Te digo, ¿cuál os parece más intuitiva? Evidentemente, todos la aplicación Fiori. Digo, bueno, pues ahora cuando vayáis a las empresas vais a ver que esto no lo vais a ver. Vais a ver el código de la transacción y ahí ya la pantallita y tal, con 70 pestañas, 40 campos y tal. Y defiende al tío que lleva 15 años creando pedidos con la M21N, que es mejor la aplicación Fiori, que es más intuitiva. Para él es más intuitiva esa pantallita marrón o gris con la que lleva trabajando toda la vida. Pantallita que cuando llegabas a implantar te decían esto es una mierda, pero es que han pasado 15 o 20 años y ahora es su mierda, entonces no se la toques. Bueno, veo que seguimos sin cambios, por lo menos en la primera posición. Ya estamos casi terminando. No os preocupéis. No me voy a tirar aquí toda la mañana. Empieza por un. Creo que empieza por un. No contéis, sí. Framework de desarrollo basado en HTML5, JavaScript, CSS y OData. Otra de las peticiones que recibo habitualmente es programadores expertos en Fiori. Fiori no es un lenguaje de programación, o programadores, como os decía, en BTP. Entonces, al final, Fiori por detrás lo que lleva son aplicaciones escritas, ¿vale?, en un lenguaje o en un framework de desarrollo que lleva por detrás HTML5, JavaScript, CSS y para intercambiar datos o data. Y esto al final es lo que se conoce como UI5, OpenUI5 o SAP UI5. Por aquí, alguna habéis respondido bien. Siguiente pregunta. Ya estamos casi al final, nos quedan 5, no os preocupéis. Modelo lógico, 3 minutos, nos da tiempo de sobra. Porque ahora voy a hablar de cada una de estas cosas. O sea, ahora cuando termine voy a soltar un speech de cada uno de los 26 términos. Modelo lógico que habilita el acceso a las tablas de siempre. Sabéis que una de las cosas que pasa en S4 es que desaparecen muchas tablas. Desaparecen muchas tablas porque lo que hacen es montar tablas gordas. La doca y tal, y dice, pero bueno, ¿dónde tengo mis tablas de siempre? La BKPF, la BSEC y tal. No están. Y mis desarrollos que hacen los select a las tablas, pues vas a poder seguir utilizando tus desarrollos de toda la vida y hacer select a las tablas de toda la vida, porque SAP por detrás lo que crea es un modelo de datos virtuales en las que tú puedes referenciar a esas tablas. ¿Es lo aconsejable? No, lo aconsejable es trabajar con lo nuevo, lo aconsejable es trabajar con CDS, lo aconsejable es entender cómo modela los datos SAP. Pero es que no tengo tiempo de cambiar, que funcione lo de siempre. Bueno, pues nada, pues que funcione lo de siempre. Ya estamos casi al final, quedan 4. Primero fue el portal, después fue Class Portal, después Lampa Service y ahora esa nueva forma que tenemos de entrar o con la que SAP quiere que entremos a las aplicaciones, pues ahora son 2 palabras, empieza por W. Si tuviera que ser estricto a cómo lo llaman ahora, al principio era SAP y directamente esto, ahora hay que meterle un palabra en medio también, que lo podría haber puesto, pero lo he simplificado, porque realmente, si somos estrictos, esto no se llama SAP, empieza por W la siguiente palabra, Wordzone, ahora sería SAP Build Wordzone, porque hace 3 años decidieron poner el Build en medio de Apps, en medio de la Wordzone y en medio de la parte de Process Automation. ¿Por qué? No sé. ¿Por qué Build? Pues porque se le ocurriría a alguien. Entonces, la Wordzone tiene 2 ediciones, la edición estándar y la edición avanzada. La edición estándar no deja de ser el Lampad como servicio y la avanzada es como un sitio de colaboración, que es lo que antes era Jan, entonces es una mezcla ahí un poco rara. ¿Tiene sentido la Wordzone avanzada? Pues muchas veces lo que tenéis ya es vuestra herramienta de colaboración en los clientes y es difícil defender eso. Podemos hablar de 3 tipos, contiene la X, no empieza, de 3 tipos. Key User, Developer y Side by Side. Como os decía, en S4 hay gente que tiene miedo y dice, no puedo modificar el estándar. Y yo, pues no lo modifiques, no lo modifiques. Lo que tienes que hacer es extenderlo. Entonces, lo puedo extender de distintas formas. Es que depende del desarrollador. No, porque con la KeyUser tú puedes hacer lo que te da la gana. Un KeyUser se va a crear su programita, su lógica y hacer todas las validaciones. Y si no, pues bueno, pues desarrollar o hacer extensiones fuera de la aplicación. Entonces hay 3 tipos de extensibilidad: KeyUser, Developer Extensibility y Side by Side, que es utilizando BTP. Veo que alguno ha acertado por ahí. Vamos a ver si hay cambio. Ahora yo os digo que saldrá la clasificación después de cada respuesta, pero Gespo me parece que se va a llevar el libro. Y. En la Y, vamos a ver, ya estamos terminando. Esta es un poco rebuscada, podría haber puesto algo que empezara por ahí, pero contiene la Y, herramienta cloud de reporting, planificación y predicción. Podéis utilizar las siglas o poner el nombre largo. De esto vais a tener una charla en la que alguien os va a contar pues, para qué o cómo puedo utilizar esto. Al principio, yo me acuerdo, la primera formación que vimos de esto, pues solo tenía la parte de reporting y era ciertamente limitada, y la gente me decía, esto es una castaña, tal, no sé qué. Bueno, pues esto creo que es una apuesta clara de SAP. A nivel de reporting, esta es la herramienta por la que ha apostado SAP, aunque sigue manteniendo otras. Y luego a nivel de planificación ha ido mejorando mucho. Al principio tampoco tenía nada. Y la respuesta es SAC o SAP Analytics Cloud. Y ya estamos en la última pregunta. Por fin, creíais que no iba a llegar nunca. Gespo ahí sigue. Josetxu, no sé por qué ha respondido bien, no tengo ni idea. Sans está ahí y yo creo que en la última pues ya es donde Gespo sería una pena que al final perdiera el primer puesto. Última pregunta. Forma coloquial para referirse a esos desarrollos que tienen todos los clientes, porque es que nosotros somos muy especiales. Es que el estándar no me cubre esto, entonces yo tengo que tener una serie de desarrollos que suelen empezar por una letra que me podemos imaginar cuál es. Y además, cuando tú ahora a los clientes les planteas que tienes que ir a C4, que no puedes modificar el estándar, que tienes que hacer las cosas de otra forma, su mayor preocupación es esto. Y todos los desarrollos que tengo es que nosotros somos muy especiales. Digo, sí, tú y tú y tú. Yo, pues a lo mejor hay que darle una vuelta a aquello, porque a lo mejor hay algunos de estos programas que llevas 20 años que no los utilizas y a lo mejor no los necesitas. Pues así hemos quedado al final. Ya he terminado, con esto puedo decir, este tío ha venido aquí a contarnos 26 cosas y no se mete en nada, no se moja. Bueno, para eso me han pagado, ya os decía que al final el presupuesto era limitado, entonces han decidido apostar por la altura. Gespo, que se pase por aquí, y mientras sube, si realmente alguien quiere profundizar en cada uno de estos términos, ¿Eres uno de los 3 que ha respondido que era experto? Sí. Sí, pues, él lo ha demostrado, los otros 2. Como decía, podéis escanear el código QR y en el código QR lo que tenéis realmente, no me daba tiempo, yo decía, digo, bueno, hago esto y luego explico cada una de las cosas. Por lo que tenéis, vuelvo a poner un enlace a una página donde tenéis cada uno de los términos, pues podéis ver ahí documentación de cada uno de ellos. Si veis eso, os ahorráis las charlas que vienen después, os podéis ir a casa ya. Bueno, dejo paso al siguiente. Hasta luego.
Yeah, hello everyone. Okay, my name is Antonio Leites, and it's really a pleasure to be here again, back. 2 years ago, I was presenting here how to integrate AI in SAP business processes, and in these 2 years, the progress of the AI was incredible. I mean, at that time, we were talking about narrow AI. That means to train a model for every use case. And now, 2 years later, we are talking about Gen AI. That means that use only one model for everything. But that has some limitations, because normally the data set that was used to train the model doesn't have good data. And to avoid hallucinations and inequalities, what we have to do is to ground the foundation model. And for that, there are several ways. One of them is using RAG, retrieval augmented generation, that consists to generate, to retrain the foundation model with your data, and you generate new embeddings, and you store the embeddings in a vector database, and then you call not directly to the foundation model, but to the vector database, and by similarity, the system finds the correct call to the foundation model and get you back the answer. But there are other ways to do that, and one of them is knowledge graph, and that is the topic of my talk today. So the presentation is divided in 3 parts. The first one is a short introduction to knowledge graph. The second one will be how to build our knowledge graph in an SAP environment. And the third one will be a short overview about the areas that SAP is using this technology. So the concept of knowledge graph is not new. I mean, in the last century, at the end of the last century, the people were dealing with how to represent knowledge in a way that can be understood by a machine. But the term knowledge graph, I think it was coined by Google after the publication of a paper in 2012. 20 years ago, in 2004, Tim Berners-Lee, the inventor of the web, was proposing an idea about semantic web. That was very ambitious, and this concept is what now we know as knowledge graph, but with a narrow scope, only to focus on the knowledge of one enterprise. Knowledge graph, probably most of you or most of us are working in every search we do, but we are not aware of that. For instance, if you search for something like SAP SE, you not only get a collection of links of pages linked with the string SAP, but also you get on the right normally a summary of facts. These facts are not coming from pages, are coming from data linked. That is the knowledge graph of Google. So all that information on the right are coming from the knowledge graph of Google. So the difference of knowledge graph with a normal web is that the things that are linked are not pages, are entities, are things. That is the main difference. But before, let me review some concepts, just to be everyone in the same page. The concept of data, information, and knowledge. What is data? Data is raw. I mean, it's data itself. It has no meaning. For instance, if we look at the data, we saw 42. What does it mean? Well, it depends. 42 could be an integer number that is the next integer number to 41 or the previous to 43, or perhaps could be the age of your girlfriend, or could be the street number of the house where you live. I mean, to give some meaning to the data, you need to relate with something. And that is what we call information. Information is data with a meaning, with a relation, connection with something else. Information could be useful or not useful. That is not the question. And normally answers to question BW questions, or how many. What we understand by knowledge? Well, knowledge is a collection of information that the intent is useful or is to be useful. And we talk about wisdom when the system or you have the ability to take decision. Sometimes people say, okay, I took decisions data-driven, but that is, the sentences is not really correct, because, I mean, if the decision was taken by you, it's not data-driven. I mean, you can use the data to take the decision, but when we talk about data-driven decisions, we are talking about systems that can take that decision without any human intervention. Perhaps we are going to talk in the near future about self-managed ERP or whatever, but that is another topic. So our challenge is, how can we build the knowledge of our enterprise in a way that a machine can understand? And of course, natural language is not the way, because, I mean, natural language is ambiguous, there is irony, so we need another way to represent the knowledge. And one possibility is to use a graph. We put in the nodes of the graph, we put the entities, and we can make some relationships with this arrow. There are different types of graphs. I mean, when we use this arrow, that means that the graph is directed. For instance, we can use label property graphs just to describe the relationship between the nodes, but that are not knowledge graphs. I mean, in SAP, in HANA, we have an engine for graph, but it's not valid for knowledge graph. It's valid for property graphs. So how can we express or represent the information in this way? Well, we can use this simple formula. I mean, we try to relate the two entities with this triple, subject, predicate, and object. And normally, the predicate is the relationship between the two entities. But what is important is the direction of the arrow. Good. Just to make this clear, I put here a very simple use case perhaps based on biology, and we put all the information we know in this use case. For instance, we say that the bears eat plants, the plants are living things, but also the bears eat honey, the honey is produced by bees, the bees are insects, the insects are animals, the animals are living things. So in this way, we express all the information we have about our use case, and this is explicit knowledge. But representing the knowledge in this way is very powerful, because we can see some hidden relationships, some implicit knowledge. For instance, we can say, even it's not explicitly represented in this graph, that the bees are living things, because, okay, we know that the bees are insects, the insect animals, the animals living things, so we can infer that bees are living things. If you try to express this in another way, for instance, in a tabular form, it's not so easy to discover this kind of relationship. And that is closer the way our brain represents the knowledge. We have no tables in our brain. We have a different structure that is more closest to this knowledge graph. And another advantage of this is that it's use case driven. I mean, at the very beginning, we start with a use case based on biology, for instance, and now we are dealing with the provisioning of the honey. So we enhance our knowledge graph just adding these informations. In this case, honey is a type of product. Honey is part of a purchase contract. Honey is in a purchase order item that is provided by the vendor, and the vendor sells honey. We put all the explicit knowledge in this way, and we didn't modify anything. I mean, if you are thinking in a tabular form, normally you put all the data in a data warehouse, and you define a unique schema, and whenever you introduce a new entity, you have to modify the schema. In this way, you only add that information without any modification. But perhaps the question is, can we model in a way the knowledge graph? The answer is yes. We can use, just to make it clear, I put this very simple use case with 4 entities, vendor, product, location, and company, and the 5 relationship between them. The collection of the entities and the relationships involved in the use case is what we call ontology, and it's a kind of data model, as you can see. So with this ontology, if we apply our data, we can build our knowledge graph. That will be. So we start with the knowledge graph, and in a particular case, this one, I am using Lidl as vendor, honey as product, Spain as location, and Sucre España as company. I can express the knowledge or the information we have to create our knowledge graph, and that is this collection of triples. For instance, the honey is sold by Lidl. That will be the first information, and we write down in a way of triples. And the other one will be Sulfur Spain by honey. We write down the corresponding triple. And to represent this knowledge graph, we need to store these 5 triples. The question, currently, is possible to store these triples in SAP, in HANA? Well, the answer is not now, but the good news is that in the last decade, what's announced that will be in the coming months a new engine inside HANA that will be able to work with triples. So, what is knowledge graph? Really, knowledge graph is a different approach for data integration. As I mentioned before, the classic approach is tabular form. We use tables. We put all the tables in a data warehouse, and we define a unified scheme to access to that information. With the knowledge graph, we don't have a common model that depends on the use case you are studying, and all the models you use are okay. I mean, if your use case is only using small entities, it's okay. I mean, it's just the way you express or you represent the knowledge. So the reasons why we are using knowledge graphs, the main reason is that in this way, representing the information of the knowledge in this way will be easier to identify complex relationships that in a tabular form will be more difficult. Not impossible, but more difficult. It's very flexible because, I mean, you can evolve without modifying anything. You can enhance your knowledge graph just adding the use case, and you don't have to modify any schema, we will say. And the most important thing, perhaps, is the query language that are after the knowledge graph. It's very powerful, it's very efficient, and we can, it's called SParkQL, and as I say, is a tool, a very powerful tool for use knowledge graph in this way. You can find knowledge graph in several enterprise, of course, in Google Web Search. In Amazon Producers, there is also knowledge graph. In Apple Siri, and Wikidata, DBpedia, and in some parts, as we show you at the end of the presentation in SAP. So, how can we build our knowledge graph? Okay, mainly there are four main steps. The first one is identify the entities, the relationships, the sources to get that information. And we can call it extraction of metadata. We define the metadata. The second step will be modeling. I mean, once we have the metadata, we model the ontology that suits to your use case. There is an standard, RDF, that rule out how you should express all this information. The standards are created by the concept of BW3C. And okay, once we have identified the source and we have created the ontology, the next step is to generate the graph with the data. And the last step, that is quite important, is to provide an EPA to access to our knowledge graph. If you remember at the very beginning when I said that there were another manners to ground in the foundation model, well, one of them is create your knowledge graph and provide an API to connect with the foundation model. So just to give you some idea of the pieces that we have in SAP to build these things, imagine that we want to put some semantics in the echo table. Echo table is a table in purchasing that has different business objects. All the purchase orders are there, but also are purchase contract. So we represent this fact in the graph. Is here the echo is related with two business objects, purchase order and purchase contract. To access to the data, okay, we use CDS view. For instance, for the purchase contract, we use this standard CDS view. I underscore purchase contract. And we also use the standard SAP documentation for the labels, for the description of the fields. And we can also get some more data using an API, so we can also use or get information coming from another system using the data, for instance. So that will be the first step. Identify who are in your business case, and the next step is to provide that information following this standard, as I mentioned before, RDF, a Resource Description Framework. This is a standard that, developed by BW3C and consists to define the entities, define the relationships, but we can have the case that one entity, let's say employee number, that can have different attributes depending on the source. I mean, in SuccessFactors, the employee has different attributes than in S/4HANA. So whenever we define an entity, we have to specify the source of that entity. And that is done in this way. This is a standard way. We define the entity and we put the namespace, but to simplify, we use what is called prefix. So instead of write down the whole namespace, we use prefix. And okay, the order is more or less what is shown there. For instance, once we have already defined the source, the namespaces, we start to declare the triples. And you can see here in the row 14, one example of triples. We say that we are going to use purchase order that is a business object, define it in that namespace, and is related with the table echo, and the relationship is defined in S/4HANA, for instance. Yeah, you define in this way all the triples. What I mentioned before, the possibility to deal with entities that are coming from different sources, we have RDF vocabularies. And these vocabularies allow us to work with the same entity, but coming from different sources. As I say before, the case from employee and SuccessFactors or S/4HANA. There are more standards, for instance, to be completely sure that is following the rules. There is a language called OWL for the ontology, some other standards that check the syntaxes of your code. Okay. One of the most important things is the language, the Spark SQL, and is quite similar to the SQL. In this case, just for simplicity, what we are looking for inside the knowledge graph are the relationships and the subjects related with this purchase order, the one ending in 2. And we can also filter in the results, and the results can be in tabular form or in JSON form. There are a lot of possibilities. That is the case I prepare, so I go faster. Unfortunately, right now, SAP doesn't provide a tool to generate the triples. And okay, this is a sloppy ABAP. It's quite simple, but you can see on the left the definition of the ontology, and you can see on the right how can you access to the CDS view to build the triples. And the last step is to export the triples to a database that, again, unfortunately, right now is not possible to store in HANA. Okay, in this case, I use GrapDB, but there are more possibilities. So, and the last point is, where is SAP using this technology? Okay, I think the first point is the integration advisor. There is a knowledge graph that have all the mappings, application to application or business to business. So when you are editing and using the integration advisor, the editor call to this knowledge graph and propose some mappings. The mappings, the proposal is in implementation and in the guide. Okay, I go faster. This is, well, perhaps one thing that I think is remarkable is here, if you try to edit or configure some mappings that are not included in knowledge graph, the integration advisor what does is to anonymize the information and create the knowledge graph. So this knowledge graph is continuously enhanced by the use of the people. Another place I think is the best knowledge graph up to date from SAP is in situation handling, and especially intelligent situation automation. This is an application in BTP that takes data for different places for S/4HANA. And okay, the structure of the knowledge graph is over here, is very big, and it has different templates that can help you to identify special situations. There is a new theory application that is called sport-related situation application, and you can see where there are some problems. In this case, say that probably with this material number could be a problem. There are a lot of instances of situations, so you can select that one and you navigate, in this case, so a list of the potential problems with these materials. And finally, when you choose one of them, the application shows you the knowledge graph for this material. And is linked on the left, you can see the theory application. So you not only see what is happening, but you can also jump to the corresponding application. Another area that is not currently in general ability is in Datasphere. Was announced 1 month before the TechEd that the state of these new capabilities of Datasphere. Datasphere is quite important because there you onboard the data, you transfer the data, and so the rules and the relationships can be easily discovered there. And it's offered an editor of the ontology. And once you say, okay, that you can, of course, modify the proposal, but once you say, okay, the knowledge graph with your data is automatically generated. So the direction of the SAP is just to put this semantic layer on top of the knowledge graph that is fed for all the application and all the data. And just the last point is in the TechEd was announced a very early version, an alpha version of the Knowledge Graph Explorer Navigator, and they presented that this knowledge graph is very big, is built with more than 450,000 ABAP tables, more than 80 3D views, more than 7.3 million of fields, and it is following the principles I told you before. So the first thing, you identify the potential source. When you identify the possible metadata, you create your ontology that fits your use case. And okay, you can see that's a screenshot where you can represent the possible models, and what I couldn't see, but I hope that will be provided by SAP, a tool to generate the knowledge graph in S/4HANA. So, and the last slide, okay, just to show you that also in the first quarter of 2025, SAP promised the knowledge graph engine. And Another thing important is that they provide the SparkQL and the possibility to merge in SQL all the engines that HANA has. So, and that is all. If you have any question, that is the moment. If not,
So good morning. My name is Josetxu Fernandez. So I work as Customer Success Manager for SAP, a special focus in BTP, and inside BTP, a special focus in adoption of the analytical and planning tools. First of all, thank you. Our sponsors are the people that do this amazing job to organize that, for having me here. So what we will talk today, we will talk about two things: analytics and Gen AI, okay? Is there any analytical fan here? Woo! Well, and AI? Woo! The same table. So why are you here, for the coffee? Okay. Anyway, I think after I finish my presentation, you will see that analytics and Gen AI could make the perfect match. So for those who failed the question about what is SAC or what is the analytical tool in SAP, SAC is the solution for planning analytics with predictive capabilities. So with SAC, you can create very fancy dashboards where you can have your information. You can use that analyzer to create a quick table in order to get your insights. Also, 90% of the people, I will say 100% of the people, at the end of the presentation will ask, okay, but can I have this in Excel also? Yeah, you have it. You have Microsoft Office integration. But one thing I want to talk today is about Just Cause. Just Cause is how we bring Gen AI to the analytical tool. Oops. So in SAC, we are a little bit in advantage. Okay, why? Because from the beginning, we had AI tools built, embedded in the tool. Why? Because from the beginning, we will try to use, for example, predictive planning, AI algorithms to make a smart grouping. For example, if we have a customer that has purchased some of our products, based on the past sales, we can predict what he will buy in the future. Also, we have smart insights. So when we see a KPI, automatically the systems give us the information of how this KPI was built. But today, we are here to talk about two things. Oops. What? Just Cause is the first talk. That is the generative AI. So it's no classic AI. So here, what we will talk about is how we embed the LLM models into our tool. And of course, we will talk about Joule. Joule, as you know, is our SAP Copilot. So also Joule will be embedded in, I think, all the tools in SAP, and especially in analytics. And I think because in analytics, you always are talking with the computer because you are asking, which is my revenue, which will be my sales. So to have this Copilot in order to interact with the data, I think it's a very key feature in the future. So I will start with Just As. What is Just As? Just As is a new way to interact with the tool. using our natural languages, okay? So that means that based on LLA models, I can ask the system instead of creating a query using technical names. Also, the system will suggest me what is in the models. So what I can expect when I query one of the models. And also, he knows, based on what I have asked the system, which is the best visualization that fits with this data. I forgot to mention, but JustCast is already in the tool. So if you have SAC as a partner or you have SAC in your companies, you can start to experiment with it. And what will come next in 2025, because this year is still in beta for some customers, is our assistant. Our assistant is Joule. So what we will do is to bring JustCast and Joule together. So instead of having one tool to using these natural languages to query data to the system, we will embed it as a chatbot, okay? But not just to query data, also to create these dashboards with low code. Because when dashboards start to complicate it, it's not a matter just to create a map and just drag and drop some dimensions. Sometimes I want to do some behavior with this data. So for that, I need to use low code, okay? So Joule will help us with this low code in order to create these buttons, this Dropbox, and so on. So I want to show you how it works, okay? So I recorded this from my laptop. And here I have SAC. So I have a button that is I activate Just Ask, and I select which model I want to query. I can query more than one, and see that he already suggests me something. Also, I didn't study in a private school, so I miss spelling order. But he still understands that I want to see the order value. And I want to say, OK, I wanted to see it by product. He showed me all the product, all the order values by product, but I don't like this visualization. So I say, no, show me as a pie chart. So here I see as a pie chart, and I can interact as a normal widget of SAC. Also, I can do filters. And as you see, I say filtering to the last year. So the system knows which year I am, so 2024. As I say last year, he knows automatically that I want the data from 2023. If I don't like the visualization, I can, as I said, interact with this. Also, right now, today, I can copy, and I create a story from scratch, and copy this widget in a brand story. So here, I copy-paste the widget in JustCast and copy it here. So now, I am building stories with the help of JustCast. And here I have the full capabilities of the SAC. So for example, I can create a comment. So if I say that there's some deviation between actuals and forecasts, and I go back to JustCast to continue extracting information. So also see in the right that there's some suggestion based on the data that I am watching. And now what I want is the value by date. Because I put date, the system knows that it's a time dimension. So that's why he's showing me like a line chart. Also, I can copy it and also bring it to my story that I was building. Can make bigger, and I can start interact with my story. I go back again to JustCast, and I create a new query. So order value and units sold by product. So that means there are one measure, more than one dimension, Also, I want to filter into the last year. So there are 4 dimensions, 5 dimensions, 2 dimensions, 1 measure, so a lot of information. Even he created this visualization, but I say, no, I want it in a table, because this fits in a table. Here, I can start to play with the table. But for example, I want to do some calculations. Just because at this moment is not capable of to do some calculations. So for example, if I have my units sold, my revenues, and I want to know the price, I create a simple calculation that is my unit price. So what I say is, okay, my order value divided from my by my units. And I have not just a story, also as a data analyzer visualization. So look how Just Cause can help you to create these visualizations. So who helps Just Cause? Because if I have like 15 years experience creating graphs, creating fancy dashboards, I know 5 programming languages, maybe it's not very useful. We'll see later that I can extract some value from it. But for example, imagine that in your company, you have like 1,000 users that they don't have experience with analytical tools. Or even they only use the dashboard once in a year, once in a quarter. So they have the information, and Just Cause can help these users to create the stories, to extract the data from SAC. So this will substitute IT? No, but at least will give a better life to IT. Because each time the user wants a new data, they don't ask or create a Jira ticket to the IT to create a query. They can do it by themselves because they don't need to know any languages. Even they don't need to know how the tool works. So this empowers our consumers of information of an easy way to do things. Now the second part. Imagine that, okay, I'm not just a consumer, I'm also create graphs, okay? So here, this is a video. This is not recorded by me, so sorry. Whoop. That is why this dashboard is fancier than mine. But for example, again, I started asking questions to Just Cause, to the system, to SAC, and see, here I have my assistant. So it's in a chatbot way, okay? So I can ask him, he gives me the answer back. Even I can do top 5, I can do ranking, I can use, give me products more than 10,000 gross margin, and so on. So this is the part, as I showed you, for a consumer, okay? So again, I sit here, I play with informations, I change the visualizations of the informations, but the important thing I want to demonstrate here is what happens if I have the rights to edit the story. If I click edit the story, now everything changes, okay? Because I click again the assistant, I restart it, but now, what I will ask, I find a blank spot, and for example, I use a suggestion, okay? Because Just Cause knows in which model I'm working on it. So he knows what are the dimensions, what are the measures that I'm using. But here what has changed is, okay, I have a button, add to this page. Instead of what I have done before, that I copy and paste, I directly can drag and drop any visualization I create with Just Cause and move it directly to the story. Also, I have buttons, and here is the magic. I can generate the script to adapt the behavior of this button. So I will pause here a little bit. Let's move it a little. So what I did here is I had a button, and I asked generate a script if I want to see the panel in year to date or in the current value, invisible. So here, the system generate the script, but not just generate the script. He also gives me an explanation of this script, of what will be the behavior of this script. And I think this is what will empower the users not just to extract the information from the tool, just to create fancy dashboards that has this kind of behavior. So I just paste it in the script of the button, and we will see how it works. I save my story, I'm going back, and now I have the button that at the beginning has no code. So now, when I change it, I have my data in actual data or in year to date. For another example, I have here some buttons also. I have here a filter. I have a table. I edit the script. I ask the system, so generate a script to give me the selected keys from this checkbox 1. He gives me it's a very easy code, okay? But sometimes when you go to the final user and you mention you need to code, he will be afraid. With this, he will miss the fare to the tool. So here, how it works, he selects some keys and press the button. So gross margin, discount, and price. Set select, the table automatically refresh. So this is the second step of Just Cast. First of all is what we have available right now. I can start to key the system and to query the system and get my information, which is what we will link next year, the integration between Joule, our assistant, with Just Cast, but not just to give us information, also to create these low-code applications inside SAC. So Joule serves, and this is why Joule comes to SAC. It will be not like an assistant to open my story, close my story, make some filters, and so on. He will be and will have a lot of functions because he will integrate everything from Just Cast inside Joule. All the data is fully operated inside SAP, and this is very important. So no data leaves SAP. And at the end of the presentation, we will go a little bit deeper of what is inside Just Cast. So what is the difference between Just Cast and Joule? Because Joule will be present in all SAP tools, but Joule is, at least by now, exclusive for SAC. So Just Cast is the analytical model. So what we will have is natural language query to empower our users to use SAC, and Joule will be our AI assistant for all tools. So what they will do is have a conversation, work in a conversational model, okay? And when some customers say, okay, this is magic, I want to, you already said that it's available right now, so tomorrow I will go back to my office and I say, okay, everybody start to use Just Cast. And I say, okay, hold your horses, please. Because how is the approach of this kind of projects is, first of all, understand what your users will query to the systems. Because sometimes, instead of making like simple question, give me my sales revenue by country, they create like a poem, okay? So first of all is to have a small group of people, of business users, that I have trust in them, and they can give me very valuable feedback, understand and collect what are the typical questions that they will do, adjust Just Ask, because as I said, it's a very powerful analytical and planning tool. So that means that there will be there dummy dimensions, dummy members, lots of hierarchies, lots of properties, members that have very different ID and no description, and so on. So maybe another thing that we can do is define synonyms and rules, because sometimes when I create my dashboard in the backend, when the user select the country, I automatically select the currency, for example. So I can do that in JustCash also. Then, with this small group of users, gather his feedback, because it's very important. And develop the best practices. And start again, because this is a circle. And this is just for us, okay? Because usually, I don't deliver this part of the presentation. Because here, I will reveal the tricks of JustCash. So which is the JustCash architecture? Because also, when we talk about LLM models and Gen AI, a lot of customers are very afraid of the data, where my data will go, what SAP will use my data with. So there is 3 parts in JustCash. One is a pre-work, doing basically by IT. When I say IT, it's the people that has created the models. And what is his duty? To sync the model, because when I go to a customer and I see the project, even at the end they key the data, they extract the data for 2 or 3, 5 models. In the system, in the production system, there will be 20, 30 models. So an IT person, a people that has the knowledge of the business, will know in which models are the information that the business user needs. He will create the synonyms. He will create the rules, okay? So this is the first part. And I say always the pre-work, okay? Then is the LLM, okay? So here is the first thing we have to notice. The LLM that we are using is a proprietary system from SAP. So that means behind the curtains, we are not using ChatGPT, we are not using Gemini, we are not using other LLM from other vendors. We are using our LLM, our proprietary LLM, that is trained with SAP data, not from the customer. So we train our system with SAP data, and we deliver each quarter fine-tuning for these models. Okay? And then is the third part, is the end-user interaction. So what the end user do is he do a query to JustCash. Then he go to the vector database with this, and he enrich the data with my synonyms and with my rules that I have developed at the beginning. So with that, he goes to the LLM, and he sends back my query, my prompt, and my context. Because here I have properties, I have hierarchies, I have synonyms, I have rules, and more important, I have security, okay? Because even if I am an end user, and for example, I query to the system, give me the revenues, but I only responsible for the data for Spain, even in the system, there is data for all countries, I only will get the data that I have permissions, and this is very important. So when I ask, for example, discount by location, for the final user, he will see a chart, but all I mention will happen behind. So why we are not using other LLMs? Because maybe they are more powerful, be real. But ChatGPT cannot connect to our customer data. Otherwise, I need to give all my data to ChatGPT. Actual data is retrieved live. So that means when I query, it takes like 1, 2, 3 seconds. And it's based on my security. So if I query, if 2 users do the same query, they will get different results. Because if I say, give me the revenue for my company, I only have permissions to Europe, and the other, and my colleagues have permissions to see all the data, even the same query will check the security of the user. Then, this model, the retrieval augmented generation, is called because I combine these two parts. The data that comes with LLM, but enriched with information that I did at the beginning. And very important, as I mentioned, JustCast does not use customer data or queries for training. So that guarantees the privacy of the customer data. The training data is carefully curated, but SAP, based on the best practice in the market, but with internal data. And just to end, when I query, show me the gross margin in Italy from 2023 to 2024, the output will be a numerical point chart because, okay, I want a chart, 2 years, one measure, one filter, and the filter will be in which model, model 1, gross margin, the measure, and the filter, Italy, and date 23 to 24. Which is our roadmap, okay? First of all, in the initial release, and you see that this comes from the beginning of the year, which model supports? That means acquired data model. So if you are doing SAC planning, for sure you will be acquired data. And start to support Datasphere model. Also, only English supported right now. For 2025, we will bring Spanish, Italian, German, and I think French also. The configuration of the synonyms and the rules are there for the beginning. So what we are working right now is in the new languages, full support of Datasphere, not just to select the models I want to query data, also to index the model and create our synonyms and create our rules the same with the acquired models. And also integrated this in Joule, okay? So I think in the next month, when you see the new releases of SAC, you will see JustCast not just a box on the top, you will see it as a pure assistant. And I think I did it in these 3 minutes. Any question? Okay. I don't know if it's explained it well or not. Good.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Fran Villegas. I'm Solution architect, specialist in SAP in Amazon Web Services. I have been working with SAP products for more than 20 years now. When Antonio was running his presentation, I discovered that I can say now more than 25. So that's a lot of years working on SAP. I have been a lot of things, from the old NetWeaver, HANA, Business Object, Hybrids, all of the evolution of SAP. You do not have time to get bored with SAP technology, okay? So I very thank to the organizer for inviting me to this session. Okay, let's see. What are we going to see today in the agenda? We are going to have a brief introduction of the relation of Amazon Web Services with SAP, very brief. We are going to have the challenges to build Gen AI application. We already have some insight on the previous presentation, very good. AWS Gen AI services and products that you can use on your roadmap or on your evolution. We are going to have how we can help on Amazon Web Services for your development of Gen AI with SAP, the integration that we are going to have between them, and some demos also here. Between the demos, we are going to have an integration with BTP services. It is HANA Cloud, the Build Apps, and some of the Amazon Web Services, okay? So let's start. The relation between SAP and AWS, it started on 2008, when SAP started using the Amazon Web Services for their initial development. Then we were the first platform on the cloud where SAP have certified infrastructure. In 2011, the first very brave customer started to migrate their system to a cloud in that time. Now it's very common for the customer moving to cloud. We were the first to have solution as a services product from SAP. At that time, the first to introduce automation with, from AWS, from partner, to create automatic deployment of SAP services on cloud, automation of service, the system copies, et cetera. We were also the first to have a inside professional service team that provides support to the partners and the customer, and the first in the terms of security to start operating with the national security specific government SAP products. Also, during 2024, SAP informed that they have integrated the SAP AICore with Bedrock. We are going to see now what is Bedrock. Okay? Bedrock is the tool that AWS services provide to access multiple language models, not only one, but multiple language models that you are going to have available on API. What are the challenges here? Well, we have a lot, accessing multiple functional models. Some of the customers are not looking to use one single model, either Gemini, OpenAI. In AWS services, our idea is that it's not going to be one single model that is going to rule all of the options that the customer have. We are going to have multiple options, okay? With Bedrock, we are going to be able to access Anthropic, Meta, et cetera. The other is customizing. Previously, we have seen that customizing is very important, so that we want that our assistant is going to work with our data, not with the data that have been trained and collected from everywhere, okay? We want to get answers specific from our data. So that is something that Bedrock is going to provide for all of the models that we are going to have below Bedrock, okay? The data privacy and security, all of the specific data that we are using to train our proper models is going to remain on the AWS organization, account, or tenant that you are using. Okay? That data is not going to be shared with the basic foundation, et cetera. Getting the function model to execute tasks. So at the moment, we are using the function model to ask. Okay? We are asking, give me something, why is this? But we can ask, and we already are using that, to use the function model to decide. So we can tell the function model, okay, I have this sales order. Let's see what you do with that. And the function model will be able to decide, okay, this function model is in SAP, I'm going to post, okay, I will create this and will post to SAP. Now this function model is from a subsidiary that is on something else. So I will create the model to do that. That's the idea of the agents, so that it's not only asked to the function model to give me something, create a graphic, et cetera, et cetera. Also to connect to different data sources, no? So Bedrock is an API. Even from the developing on ABAP, we can access that API on Bedrock. And the difficult to manage infrastructure, okay? This is completely managed by Amazon Web Services. You don't need to worry about that. One more thing that I like to highlight is to know when using GenAI is the best tool. GenAI is a great tool, but it's not the best solution for everything, okay? GenAI is good for to create a program, a coding, to create an image, to summarize, okay, to provide a summary of something, to create an email. It is good for example, to detect an anomaly. It can do the work, but it's not the best tool. We can train a specific model to detect an anomaly. It is the best solution for a forecasting. It may do the work of predict a forecasting. But training our proper models, we are going to have a better approach for that. What we call now the traditional AI. Okay, that just 2 years ago, that was just AI. But Amazon Bedrock, I have been highlighted this. I'm going to move right quick here. What is Bedrock? Well, you access Bedrock with an API. You decide what is the model that you are going to use. You can customize that model with your data and secure, send the prompt, and receive the response. That's quite easy. And it is something homogeneous for any of the functional models of the language model that we are using behind. We have, for example, Anthropic. We have AI21, the one from Amazon, Meta, Stability, et cetera, et cetera. Each of them is very qualified on some specific activities. So that's why we say that you do not need to attach to one single functional model. You can have multiples, depending on what is your need. And not only what is your need, but also the price, okay? Let's see, this is only the difference in price for Anthropic. Just imagine all of the other providers that are available. Imagine that you have a business case with 4 PDF to provide someone that is accessing how I start a SAP system. So why I'm going to pay this? One, for that, I can pay this. That's another point of decision, okay? Not only what is the best technical solution, but the one that the price adapt to the solution that I'm deploying. And on top of this, we are going to have QuickSight. QuickSight is in AWS the equivalent of SAP Analytics Cloud. The equivalent can be of Power BI, et cetera, et cetera. One important thing to say is that many of the Amazon Web Services tools that we are showing here, they have data federation with many of the BTP data services. For example, with Datasphere, we can have data federation with Redshift, with S3, et cetera, et cetera. So in many cases, we do not need to have a replica between Amazon Web Services and BTP, because they can integrate between them. We are going to see a demo on that. Now, let's see what are the demos. This demo, in fact, you can run this. This demo is public. It's a workshop. If you have a BTP trial account or a BTP owner account, if you have an Amazon Web Service account, you can run this by yourself. If you are interested to have a session when we deploy temporal Amazon Web Services to have any kind of workshop, we are happy to work with you, okay? So what is this? What we are going to do, what is this workshop doing, is to develop a chatbot, okay? And to develop this chatbot, we are going to use Amazon Web Services and BTP. We are going to have the data in SAP HANA Cloud, okay? And we are going to develop, in this case, SageMaker is the tool to machine learning, to train the models in Amazon Web Services, okay? And we are going to have the integration with Bedrock. What is going to do Bedrock here? Well, the user is going to create a question in natural language. What is going to do Bedrock is to provide the select, the SQL command to be executed on the HANA Cloud to recover that information. And then Bedrock, again, is going to provide the natural language answer to the customer, okay? In this demo, we are going to be focused mainly on the backend, okay? We are going to see also the build apps, but the solution already deployed, the backend solution. Also, with the slide that I showed before, we can use AICore to perform the training instead of SageMaker. Everything can integrate. You can move boxes, okay? You can use whatever you want or find that is useful for you. Just to make the demo a bit faster, okay? Here are some of the things that we need to provide to SageMaker to train Bedrock for our data. Of course, we are going to need to deploy some components. We are going to inform a Bedrock an Anthropic, what is the structure of the table that we have in HANA Cloud. We are going to train Bedrock on how we want to create the select and how we want that he provide the answers. We are going to specify what is the model. In this case, we are using Anthropic Cloud version 2, the token, et cetera, and we are going to specify the connection, in this case with user pass, but it can be also single. Let's move here. 1 second. 25 years ago, I didn't need this, but well. The mouse is not working in this surface. Well, let's see. We are going to have a HANA Cloud data. We have a HANA Cloud where we have the information. And here we have the result, okay? You can see we have 17 hotels. We have in different cities, Seattle, et cetera. So what are we doing in SageMaker? How are we integrating this? So in the first part, we are going to connect to our HANA Cloud. Let me run the connect again, just in case. The connection has been canceled. I'm connected to the endpoint of the HANA trial. Now I'm connected, and let's try a single select. I'm going to perform a select on the HANA Cloud. And we have the information in SageMaker, okay, directly. Then we are going to train our model. We already have trained the model in the screen, in the slide that we saw. I saved the time to perform all of that activity. Okay, we are going to connect again, just in case that the connection is broken. Second, now we are connected, and we can start making questions, okay? Let's say, for example, the question, how many hotels there are in Seattle? And here, what Bedrock is doing is to create the select. This has been done by Bedrock, of course, with the Alchemy HDB client that we have provided to him to create a proper select for HANA, okay? And also, the select has been executed via SageMaker on HANA Cloud. The answer is collected, and then Bedrock, again, with Anthropic behind, is providing the answer to the customer. Okay? This is quite simple. Joule is a great tool, okay? So sometimes the developer will need to do something, okay? A bit different, okay? Or integrate not only SAP data, but data that can be coming from IoT, from other non-structured data. And just to show how is the build apps, we have created also in the workshop. If you follow the workshop, you can create also the front end using build apps. Here you can see how it has been created. Okay, the canvas, blah, blah, all of the integration, et cetera, and we can come here and start asking questions to the, are there, for example, in New York State? This is just the front end of what we saw before, the backend that is behind, okay? There are 4 other in New York State. We can check that is correct. State, New York State. We have 4 hotels here. Well, let me get back to the presentation. The another demo is also available on workshop, okay? You can follow it. Again, if your organization is interested to have a session where we deploy temporarily Amazon account for you, and we can run this together, okay? In this case, we are going to use 100% Amazon Web Services, but you can move boxes, okay? The good thing of cloud and Amazon Web Services is that you don't need to attach to a single provider. You can move boxes, okay? You imagine that the data lake is composed by Amazon S3 and Redshift, for example. We can use Datasphere. If the data is in Datasphere, that's fine. In this case, we are using Amazon QuickSight. But if you are using SAP Analytics Cloud, that's fine, okay? There is data federation. It's not going to be a big problem with that, okay? So we are going to be extracting data from SAP using an Amazon AdFlow. It's a service that can connect to SAP via OData and extract the data, even with deltas. It integrates with ODP, okay? So we can have the deltas running on a frequency that we need for each of the services. And also we have an orchestrator that is going to move the raw data that is being extracted to provide it in a more structured data on Redshift that is a solution more similar to a data warehouse in AWS, okay? Amazon QuickSight can access data directly to S3, so we don't need Redshift in some cases. Redshift is going to provide a semantic layer and more performance. So again, we can choose. We have a solution that we don't need a big performance. We don't need that the user is reply it more or less instantly, so we can use a connection directly to S3. Let's see the demo. Here we have AdFlow. Here in AdFlow, we are going to have many flows. Each of these connections is connected and extracted one specific kind of data from SAP in 1 day, 1 minute, whatever we need. In this case, we are going to focus on the purchase order, okay? So this data is going to be moved to Redshift, where we are going to have the data based also in the delta. If you can see, we are going to have the historic. So we have a data with 469. We modify that purchase order on SAP, and then we extracted the data, and we know what is the current, but we have the history of the data. Most of these components can be deployed with infrastructure as code. we have template, a stack that you can deploy to create the Amazon flows, the Redshift table, even some of the basic QuickSight dashboard, okay? And let's see how works QuickSight. Okay? In QuickSight, we are going to have a layer of GenAI, where we can interact with the data directly. We are extracting that data, and we are moving this to a data set, and that data set is going to be powered by our GenAI. And based on the data that we are going to extract it, so we can make questions here. Such as, ¿cuál es la facturación por quarters? We are going to have the answer to our question, but QuickSight is also to provide information that it finds relevant to that question. So not only what you have been asked, but also, okay, for you, this can be interested also, okay? And also provide the raw data, just in case you want to validate that the graph and the whatever is according to the data, no? And also this is coming from Bedrock. So QuickSight, behind of QuickSight, we have Bedrock, okay? And in this case, it's providing some insight on that data, okay? Automatically, just with one question, okay? But not only about graphics. So we can ask also to QuickSight questions that are more related to a direct answer. Okay. In this case, we are asking why the invoice amount increased in 2020 in quarter one 2020. If you can see, the natural language is very powerful. We are speaking of Q, and he is able to interpret that Q1 is quarter one, and the quarter one is January, February, March. So, and we are going to have the answer. In 2020, you have an increase for the supplier, for this material, et cetera, et cetera. More than that, okay? And this is going to finish. We can have the dashboard, the final dashboard created for our users. So let's see. We are going to have the user. They are going to see this dashboard. Our users, we can classify the user in two. The normal user that are going to see the dashboard, the typical dashboard, immutable, but we can have pro users that are going to be able to ask to interact with this data even from the dashboard, okay? So and then we can go from my dashboard, we can create a data story. So in this data story, let's say that I want to include all of these visuals. And we are going to create a prompt. We have created. We are going to have here the title, the introduction, the information specific for each of the graphics that we have included, and everything else. So these are the capabilities that we can have with the Amazon Web Services GenAI for SAP, okay? Let me get back to the presentation. Now, just to finish. We can bring this, easy ways to build, to develop, all of the solutions that we may have, performance, security, et cetera, et cetera. Here are some links that you can have. Again, the links to the workshops, the information from the notice from SAP of the new integration between SAP and Amazon Web Services, and you contact me for anything that you need, okay? Also, just wanted to say that yesterday we have a session here in Barcelona in Amazon Web Services with several customers on site and virtual, having a coding time. The idea is we present this kind of solution that they can do. the customer, the teams are classified to generate a solution. They can have an idea. They create the product along the day. And at the end, we have some prizes for the winners, okay? If you are interested, you can look also for this kind of opportunity that you may have. But anyway, if in your organization you are interested to have any session, we are happy to collaborate with you. Okay, and that's it from my side. If you have any question, I will be around, so happy to interact with you.
¿Ya está? Hello. So these last days, we were testing the knowledge from SAP expert about Barcelona monuments and buildings. We put a game like this picture, where you can see big monuments from Barcelona. Maybe you are brave enough to try to identify the name of each one of them, but we decide to recognize all the effort and the hard work from one of our great colleagues, Gerard Lagardina. So Gerard Lagardina answer correctly from 2 to 10, but it's not possible to answer the one. But the one, maybe we have to say one thing to Gerard, because you can see here the monument that you try to recognize. Gerard was looking for Barcelona, driving, looking for the monument, and it was impossible to find this round yellow pixel in the sign, because this is not a monument. We really don't know where it comes from, what is the name, and so on. We can suppose, but it's a mistake. But for that, for your effort, you deserve all the effort. Thanks. Congratulations, Gerard. Thanks. And now, with the help of Magda is... Hey, Gerard, why you? Yeah, we have a special gift to Gerard with the initial logo of the round pixel in the monument. So this is for you.
Thank you.
This is for coffee.
Thank you.
For the next go live of SAP. So, and now, with the help of Magda comes in the representation of MAL. MAL is a company that helps freelancers to improve their career in SAP and some other technologies. With the help of Magda, I will try to use a high technology game. Not this one. So, in this Raffle, one winner will earn a free ebook from Espresso Tutorial from Íñigo. I don't know where is Íñigo now. Come here, Íñigo also. I cross fingers to avoid that any one of you win the ebook. So let's see. So we need a innocent hand. It's just click here.
Al que quiera.
Yeah. Íñigo, eso, Íñigo. Joaquim Casa. So now you can take the name and the email. Joaquim.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
It's funny because I'm freelance, so.
Yeah.
Exactly. I have
So-
a profile in your web, so.
So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So now it's time for coffee. Sure that you are waiting for coffee a lot. And now in the coffee break, there is a photograph expert from Mal. So if you would like to take a picture and publish a Twitter post with your picture in the SAPInsidetrack hashtag, so just contact the photographer or Magda, so they can make a professional photograph. And we will continue at 11:30. So let's go for coffee.